Hey guys, in today's video, we're going to talk about how to start the downswing with the lower body. There are two key moves in here that you need to know to get the downswing started correctly. Let's go ahead and get started. Hey guys, today I want to talk to you about the hanger training aid. Now, I don't know if you've seen this or used this before, but it is absolutely my new favorite training aid. This hanger here creates and controls what I think is the most important part of the swing, which is the wrist angle. It snaps right on. It takes me probably 30 seconds to put on. I can put it right in my golf bag, and best of all, the main trait of a training aid that's really good is you can hit balls with it. You can actually hit balls with it. So I love this hanger training aids. I've been using it probably for the past 6 to 7 weeks in my own game. You may have seen me in videos talk about, hey, I'm really trying to get my left wrist flat at the top. Look at when I do that well, how that sits on my forearm. Now watch when I cut my wrist, how that comes off. Immediate feedback for where my wrist angle's at. I like to use this even during my takeaway. When I set it up here, I like to keep it between my arms during my takeaway, press it against my left wrist for flat left wrist at the top, press it more against. Look at when I press it against, so that shallows my shaft, that keeps my club face square to close, helps me hit from inside. So I absolutely love this. I firmly believe that this is good for every single golfer. There's no one that can have too flat of a left wrist. One of the few things that all good ball strikers have, we're trying to have. Flat left wrist, right? Super easy to use, incredible immediate feedback. With the coupon code GornorGolf.com, it's only $59, and I can actually hit balls with it and get instant feedback. Yes, I don't know if you can hear that, but that's about as compressed as I can hit a ball, and that's the main point of this hanger. Iron compression. You're gonna absolutely love it. We'll put all the details down in the description down below. All right, guys, in today's video, we're gonna talk about how to start the downswing correctly. Now, before we dive in, I would love for you to check out GornorGolf.com, schedule a 15-minute phone call with me. Let's talk about the plan we could put together for you, help fix your swing finally, take your game to the next level. We'll put Cogorno Golf in the description down below. And guys, as you're watching, if you can click that little gray thumbs up button, that would really help. Now, starting the downswing with the lower body, there are absolutely two key moves you have to have in there to help you get off your trail side onto your lead side. Let's hop over. I'll show you what I'm talking about.
So as we look at Adam Scott from the top as he starts his downswing, you can see this initial part of the downswing right to there is where he has his falling left move, or falling towards the target. You can see both his head and his hip there, his lower body and torso, so everything just drifting or falling down and forward. This is the pressing into the lead foot portion from about the top of the backswing until about left arm parallel. From here until about right here is the falling left. Now from here, notice the belt buckle, and this is going to be the pushing up and forward. So as he does this, he falls down into the left, everything, boom. Now he's pretty much planted left. Now from here, his head's not going to continue moving forward as much, but the hips will until about arms parallel. So notice from where he was at the top, down and forward, everything. Now the head will stay back, but that belt buckle is going to continue pushing up and forward to the point where it gets over the lead ankle. From there now he'll release his upper body as well into the finish position. So it's down and forward, floating into the left foot, and then pushing the belt buckle up and forward from there into the follow through.
All right, guys, so how to start the downswing with the lower body and really how to shift forward to your lead side. I want to keep this simple here on purpose. I think you saw there the Adam Scott move when he came down, and you're going to see some images on the screen here. There's a couple reference points, but from a simple feel perspective, here's what I'd like you to do. If you take your normal setup, and I've got an 8-iron here, but this will apply to sand wedge, irons, driver, all of it. When you go to the top of your swing, the first movement down really is a pressing or falling into your lead side. Now, as you're pressing or falling into your lead side, you could see there on the videos that the entire body floats down and forward. The head will go slightly down and forward towards the target, and the lower body goes slightly down and forward. So I'm falling into or pushing into my lead side. That would be the first part of this. So the first thing I want you to feel is the movement down as a falling of your whole torso down. So kind of down and forward, right? Down towards the ground and forward towards the target, and a pressing into your lead foot. That would be the first part that I want you to feel. And that's not just a lower body movement. You could see clearly in those videos with the line on the hip and the head that the whole torso is moving down and forward. What I feel happening as that's happening is a pressing into my lead foot, as if there was an object underneath there. My foot is pressing down into it, and I'm allowing my entire body to go down and forward. Now, this first motion really happens specifically from the top of the backswing until the lead arm reaches parallel to the ground. So if I take my setup position, you could see in the demonstrations, this is happening from the top until about the time the left arm reaches parallel to the ground. From that point forward is when we reach phase 2, which is the hips now pushing up and forward. So from the top to left arm parallel, my entire body floats down and forward. Let's say you were 50-50 in terms of weight in your feet at the top. At this point, let's say you're about 70-30 to the left. Now from here through, my head has moved as far forward as it's going to in this next phase. Then you can see the belt buckle pushes up away from the ground and forward towards the target, to the point where the belt buckle's over the lead ankle and eventually pointing left of the target. So from the top, you feel a float down and forward for about the first foot. Now you take your belt buckle and push it up and forward. That's the second part. So you're falling or pressing down into your lead foot early, then push your belt buckle up and forward. And those are really the two movements that I want you to key in on in terms of starting your downswing. Because what that does really is get you all three key movements of the lower body all in one. You get the shifting of the weight, you get the turning, and you get the extension all in one shot. So in the beginning, you might need to feel this in two phases: fall down and forward, and then push your belt buckle up and forward. But then gradually we want to turn that into just one motion. So press down into your left, then push your belt buckle up and forward. Even though they are two sort of distinct phases, once I do the initial falling to the left and pushing down and forward into my lead foot, like I said, maybe 70-30, I'm really done in terms of the pushing down and forward part. The rest of my weight gets shifted then from my hips pushing up and forward. So my hips pushing up, my belt line's raising, right? My legs are extending, and my belt buckle again is going to point at or left of the target. Should get to the point where it's over my lead ankle at the end. So push or fall down and forward, push the hips up. And this is really universally good for everybody. So fall down into the left, push the hips up and forward. And that initial movement, you can be pretty aggressive with. And really, you can be pretty aggressive with both of them. So you can push down into your left foot pretty good to start with, right? Feel that. My whole body, my left shoulder, my left knee, my head are working down and forward till about left arm parallel. And then pushing your belt buckle up and left of the target, again, is going to take care of pretty much everything else. So push into the left foot early, push the belt buckle up and forward. I have seen consistently these two feels and moves for people take care of the lower body action. Now, a lot of people will say, hey, Eric, I'm getting stuck on my right side. I can't shift to my left. Well, I think this is how you solve it. I don't think you need a different drill. You need to do this. You need to do it maybe more exaggerated. If you struggle to get to your left side, you might have to start slower. You might have to start with a shorter swing, but it's these same exact feels. Push hard into the left and then push your belt buckle up and forward. Now, the timing of how this happens, technically speaking, you're going to be starting that falling into your left motion a little bit before the end of your backswing. But what that's going to need to feel like is it's going to be dependent some on your swing, right, and your tendencies. If you're someone who goes really short on the way back and quick, like I tend to do, it might need to feel like your backswing gets all the way to the top before you start pressing down. Maybe even a little longer than you think. If you're someone who has a really long backswing, kind of long and slow, you might start to actually feel this push happening earlier. I have some players who they feel like the hands get to about hip high and they start that falling to the left. So the timing's a little dependent on your swing. It is happening right before the end of the backswing. Okay, so from a drill perspective, again, I really just like the feels here, but I've just got a little foam ball here that I'm gonna put underneath my lead foot. Sometimes putting a tee into the ground can work well here as well. I'm just gonna put it really in the middle part of my lead foot, just so my brain has an awareness of where my foot's at. And what I want you to feel when you start this falling to the left is once you're getting up towards the top, pressing down into that ball. And you can be pretty firm with it. And again, allowing the torso, head, all of that to work down and forward in the initial part. So if you struggle with getting to your left side or getting the weight forward, put an object underneath there that you can feel like you push into during about the first foot of the downswing. Okay, if you struggle with the second half of the downswing, which is the pushing the hips up and forward, I'd suggest just using your golf bag, getting a chair or an object, and just putting it a little bit outside the left edge of your foot. And even without a ball in the beginning, let your body fall down and forward first. So you might feel like the knee's a little outside the ankle, the hips inside the knee, and then push the belt buckle up and forward to the point where you're all the way on the bag or object. So it's a fall left, push up and forward. Fall left, push up and forward. All right, guys, so that's how you start your downswing with the lower body. 2 phases, fall into the left, and then push your hips up and forward. Trying to keep this one a little bit more simple on purpose. If you do want a little bit more detail, like I know some of you do, how much to bend the left leg, the internal, external rotation, all that we talked about in an awesome video. We're gonna put a card on the screen here with Milo lines. We'll put that on. If you wanna check out cogornogolf.com, would love to work with you there. We'll also put that card on the screen.